Patrick, Paddy, hi. Let's start with you, Paddy. Decarbonisation is all over the place at this COP. What are your impressions thus far?
Lots of positives in that decarbonisation opportunity, options, all understood. Private sector wants to get on with it, is very, very impatient. Lots of dialogue on funding continues to be a big theme, how we continue to fund that transition in the emerging world. Also, a big doubt as to whether the energy crisis and the rampant inflation is now going to leave renewable energy behind again. But the fact of the matter is, I think there is also the understanding that that's not entirely true, because fossil fuel prices are going up and the cost of generating with fossil fuel is also way higher than through renewables. So lots of will, commitment, and focus on action.
Patrick, as Paddy mentioned there, the energy crisis, markets in turmoil over recent months. What impact is that having on decarbonisation now and into the future?
Well, it's a fossil energy crisis, right? Where we see scarcity and increasing prices on the fossil side, gas, oil, and then as a result, power of that, right? But to me, this significantly has improved the business case of any green technology. Literally any climate and decarbonization lever is now more economic than it was a year ago, right? We talk efficiency, we talk renewable energy, we talk hydrogen, be it even CCUS, right? Carbon capture and storage. The challenging aspect is that the CEOs' agendas are busy now with short-term crisis fighting. It's literally a fight for management attention, but it's much less a fight for business case and fundamentals. So we need to survive the short term, and we need to make sure we have sufficient power of decision-making and reorientation to capitalize on the much more attractive business case for the green transition. That luckily was triggered by the fossil energy crisis.
I absolutely agree with you. I think the energy crisis has actually been a helpful thing in that it has really triggered the focus. There's a lot more concern around security, but then now we are starting to understand that decarbonization and security actually don't need to compromise. They are actually one and the same, in that the decarbonized energy solutions are very, very local, and they require more interconnection for resilience and for efficiency. So security, social responsibility, climate are all integrated in the solution.
So the energy trilemma is no more, right? Historically, we would have said there was a trade-off around sustainability, affordability, and security of supply. It's now all aligned, right? The stars are aligned in most parts of the region.
So, Paddy, what do companies and governments need to watch out for in this new normal context?
Look, so governments need to continue to make sure that the enabling environment is there for the private sector to invest. The ambitions are clearly set out and followed through with regulation and policy actions. Private sector, on the other hand, now is very efficient at starting to deliver, needs to recognize that the risk paradigm has changed. When energy was being supplied at a high price using the fossil fuel energy era, the risks in a developing country, expensive energy, is a very different risk to when we are able to deliver now renewable energy at much lower prices. So we need to be reevaluating the risk model, how we price money. I think for companies and for financiers, that is where the real opportunity is, and that is, I think, our responsibility now. So we also need to take that responsibility on our shoulders as private sector.
The only addition I would say, like for a company, for a private sector player, figure out what's your business model in a net zero world, and then work backwards and take bold decisions. And the bolder you are, the more you take risk out of this, because technology will evolve faster. Downstream commitments have been made. The pull for green technologies, we see that on the steel side, on the ammonia side, etc., is already kicking in. So there's really a risk of missing out and not being fast enough in this transition, recognizing it holds for almost all sectors, not for every single one.
Patrick, Paddy, thank you so much.
Thank you.